Welcome to Summit, everybody. We're taking a look at the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. I'm your host, Mark. It's nice to see you. Well, I can't see you. You can see me. You know, is Jesus your everything? Is God your everything? Is your faith your everything? When bad things happen, and they will, not because you're a bad person, just because fallen nature, sin, the life of the world around us, right? We're in an imperfect world. We're imperfect people. We're sinners. Hard things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. When bad things happen, do you lean into Jesus or do you run away? When bad things happen, do you trust God or do you blame God? These readings this week are a really, really great reminder that, you know what? Stuff's going to happen. But if we're totally sold out for God, we'll keep moving forward. There was a line in one of the Rocky movies, and it says, life's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Now, I'm not suggesting you go get hit. What I am suggesting is that there's a lot of wisdom to that line, and actually sort of a theme for these readings this week. In this first reading from Jeremiah, Jeremiah is called the weeping prophet because when you read his book, he's crying a lot. He's crying out a lot. Jeremiah's living in a really hard time. His people have been taken into captivity. The temple's been left in ruins. I mean, he's alone and he's crying out. It's like he's singing the blues, right? He's crying out. He says, I just tell myself, I'm not going to do this anymore. I mean, he's crying out to God. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's not worth it. Everyone's out to get me. Nobody likes me. It's desolation everywhere. He says, I can't do it. And then he says, but then I feel the presence of God. I feel the word. It's in my bones. I'm like, I'm not going to speak about him anymore, but I feel this fire in my heart and I just can't keep it in. And that's what made him such an amazing and a powerful prophet, Jeremiah. Even though he was younger, he was living in a hard time. What made him so powerful was that passion, that desire, that fire that he had for God. When St. Paul in the second reading is going to tell the Romans in Romans chapter 12, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice to God, holy and pleasing to him, who is your spiritual worship. He's talking about, listen, everything you are, everything you have to offer as a sacrifice back to the Father, who sacrificed everything for you. And he's urging the Christians who are being persecuted in Rome, keep moving forward. And then in the gospel, we're picking up the gospel in Matthew where we left off last week. Last week, Jesus changes Peter's name, gives him the keys, you're my guy. This week, he looks at Peter and goes, get behind me, Satan. Wow. I mean, talk about a major shift, right? You got the keys. You're the dude. You're Satan. He's like, wait, what? He's trying to make a point because he says, I'm going to suffer. And Peter, no, you can't suffer. You can't suffer. And he says, okay, you get behind me, Satan. You don't be an obstacle to me. Listen, you have to understand something. If you're going to be in charge, you got to understand something. You're going to have to take up your cross. And you're going to have to follow me. And we know from history and from tradition that Peter did have to take up his cross. He got crucified upside down because he said he wasn't even worthy to be crucified the way that the Lord was. Peter's life was not free of suffering. Paul's life was not free of suffering. Jeremiah's life was not free of suffering. But we still hail all of these people as these faithful and amazing disciples and servants of God. You read the lives of the saints. Most lives of the saints have plenty of suffering. The reality is that if you just trust God and you give him your whole heart, that it's going to work out. Life's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So when things go wrong, and they will, in your home, in your job, at your school, in your family, in your friendships, in your relationships, finances, health, whatever it is, when things go wrong, that's where you got to dig deep. Unleash the fire that's in your heart. Realize that sometimes you're going to have to carry a cross. Realize that sometimes you're going to be surrounded by suffering. Maybe you're going to be suffering. Maybe you're going to feel isolated or desolated or alone. But realize that you're never alone. And even in those moments, God is with you and God's near you. And that's when you lean into your faith and not run away from it. God bless you.